Hello, and welcome back to Year 9 English. This is Week 13, Session 1, Autobiographical Voice, Literacy, and Freedom. This lesson asks us to move beyond identifying autobiographical voice. Learning to read gives Douglas lasting awareness of slavery's injustice, but initially no direct means of escape. We will test that understanding against exact language and structure. Today's central lens is autobiographical voice. Track autobiographical voice, retrospective, literacy, and oppression. Each term must lead to a defensible judgment rather than a feature list. We will trace how evidence, method, and context shape a precise judgment. Here are today's 4 learning goals. First, define autobiographical voice precisely and correct common misconceptions. Second, secure the passage's literal movement before making an inference. Third, explain how extended metaphor and anaphoric repetition shapes tone, structure, and purpose. And fourth, use retrospective narration and hence in an independent response. Keep the sequence in mind. Secure literal meaning, select evidence, explain its effect, then communicate a qualified judgment. Let us define the central term precisely. Autobiographical voice means a first-person voice that retrospectively shapes lived experience for an audience and purpose. Autobiography presents remembered experience, but it is also crafted argument. A narrator selects scenes, explains later understanding, and addresses readers who may not share the experience. Frederick Douglass's narrative shows literacy as power and pain. Reading exposes the injustice of slavery, but knowledge initially arrives without an immediate route to freedom. The passage uses metaphor, repetition, and sensory expansion. Freedom becomes a trumpet that wakes the soul and then appears in every part of the natural world. Students should not describe enslaved people as lacking intelligence. Douglas reports that enforced ignorance was a system of control and records his own agonized envy of people temporarily shielded from knowledge. The target of the critique is slavery, not the people subjected to it. Now correct misconception 1. Autobiography is an unshaped record of everything that happened. It selects and organizes experience for purpose. Misconception 2. Douglas calls reading finally worthless. He describes immediate anguish within a larger movement toward freedom. Misconception 3. People denied education lack intelligence. Systems can restrict access to literacy as a form of control. Use this working method. Move from autobiographical voice to evidence, to interpretation, then to communication. Qualify every claim that the evidence cannot fully prove. Read the core material, the silver trump of freedom. Track its literal movement, its central turn, and the details that later support inference. As I read and contemplated the subject, that very discontentment which had been predicted would follow my learning to read had already come, to torment and sting my soul to unutterable anguish. I would at times feel that learning to read had been a curse rather than a blessing. It had given me a view of my wretched condition without the remedy. It opened my eyes to the horrible pit, but no ladder upon which to get out. It was this everlasting thinking of my condition that tormented me. There was no getting rid of it. It was pressed upon me by every object within sight or hearing, animate or inanimate. The silver trump of freedom had roused my soul to eternal wakefulness. Freedom now appeared, to disappear no more forever. It was heard in every sound and seen in everything. I saw nothing without seeing it. I heard nothing without hearing it, and felt nothing without feeling it. It looked from every star, it smiled in every calm, breathed in every wind, and moved in every storm. That is the complete model. Hold on to the exact sequence before interpreting motive or effect. Begin with a literal map of what changes. Central movement. Learning to read gives Douglas lasting awareness of slavery's injustice, but initially no direct means of escape. Primary textual anchor. Opened my eyes to the horrible pit, but to no latter supporting detail. Curse rather than a blessing. Later or contrasting detail. Every sound. The key word is contemplated. It means thought about deeply and for a sustained time. In context, the word sharpens the lesson's focus on autobiographical voice and prevents a vague paraphrase. The main idea is this. Learning to read gives Douglas lasting awareness of slavery's injustice, but initially no direct means of escape. Literal accuracy gives interpretation a secure floor. We must know what the writing actually does before we explain why it matters. Now move from observation to supported inference. The painful awareness is still a form of awakening because freedom becomes impossible for him to forget. Candidate 1 opened my eyes to the horrible pit, but to no ladder. Candidate 2 curse rather than a blessing. Candidate 3 eternal wakefulness. Candidate 4 every sound. The strongest anchors open my eyes to the horrible pit, but to no ladder. First, the selected phrase directly anchors the inference in the writer's wording. Second, read it alongside curse rather than a blessing. The relationship gives the claim range instead of relying on one isolated word. Third, keep the wording qualified. The text supports this inference. The painful awareness is still a form of awakening because freedom becomes impossible for him to forget. It does not make every possible conclusion equally certain. The evidence matters because it connects the literal movement learning to read, gives Douglas lasting awareness of slavery's injustice, but initially no direct means of escape. To the supported inference without replacing analysis with quotation. Now examine how the writer's method operates in stages. Stage 1 isolates the wording. The silver trump of freedom had roused my soul. Stage 2 names the method precisely. Extended metaphor and anaphoric repetition. Stage 3 follows the consequence. Freedom becomes a powerful sound that awakens consciousness permanently, combining hope with torment. The combined method is extended metaphor and anaphoric repetition. The key wording is, the silver trump of freedom had roused my soul. Naming the method is only the middle step. The analysis must connect extended metaphor and anaphoric repetition to the change it creates in the reader's understanding. Its precise effect is this. Freedom becomes a powerful sound that awakens consciousness permanently, combining hope with torment. Move in order from exact wording to named method, to a change in meaning, and finally to purpose. Bring tone, structure, and purpose into one connected explanation. Tone. Anguished, awakened, and resolute. This tonal judgment is earned through the relationship among opened my eyes to the horrible pit, but to no ladder, the wider pattern, and the passage's movement. Structure. The passage begins with knowledge without remedy, then expands freedom from an idea into a presence perceived throughout the world. First, locate the starting position before the passage's central shift. Second, track how sequence, contrast, or accumulation develops the main idea. Third, connect the final emphasis to the writer's purpose rather than treating it as an isolated ending. Purpose, to show literacy as both a weapon against oppression and a source of painful consciousness. The structure matters because the order controls when the reader can reach this judgment, to show literacy as both a weapon against oppression and a source of painful consciousness. A confident reader tests an alternative rather than pretending only one interpretation exists. Begin with the alternative. Calling literacy a curse describes its immediate emotional cost, not a final rejection of education. Test it against the strongest anchor, opened my eyes to the horrible pit, but to no ladder, and against the passage's larger movement. Then qualify the final judgment. The model thesis remains strongest because it explains both method and consequence. Douglas presents literacy as irreversible awakening. It intensifies suffering because it exposes the pit, yet it also makes freedom a permanent imaginative possibility. A strong thesis is, Douglas presents literacy as irreversible awakening. It intensifies suffering because it exposes the pit, yet it also makes freedom a permanent imaginative possibility. The metaphor of eyes open to a horrible pit, but no ladder separates knowledge from immediate power. Literacy reveals the structure of oppression without instantly providing escape. The later silver trump changes that painful vision into sound and awakening. Repetition of every and the parallel I saw, I heard, I felt make freedom enter all perception. The voice therefore holds anguish and resistance together rather than treating reading as a simple blessing. Paragraph remains analytical because every term is connected to evidence, effect, and the developing argument. Now focus on retrospective narration and tense. Autobiography often moves between past experience and later interpretation. Past perfect can show what had already occurred, while reflective statements explain significance from a later position. Which phrase most clearly shows retrospective interpretation rather than immediate action? The answer is, "It had given me a view of my wretched condition without the remedy." The sentence looks back on what literacy had done and evaluates its effect. Reject the first option. As I read. It does not satisfy the sentence's grammatical and logical needs. Reject the second option. Every object within sight. It either distorts the relationship or weakens clarity. Choose the supported answer. The sentence looks back on what literacy had done and evaluates its effect. Now combine the thinking. Which sentence best captures the paradox? The strongest version is, literacy deepens Douglas's anguish because it reveals oppression, yet that same knowledge keeps the idea of freedom alive. The contrast links pain and liberation without treating them as mutually exclusive. Retrospective narration and tense is not decoration. It helps a reader follow the relationship among claim, evidence, and reasoning. Transfer the method. Read the autobiographical sentence. The map did not shorten the journey, but after studying it, I could no longer believe the road ended at the fence. Which idea is closest to Douglas's account? The answer is, knowledge may not remove an immediate barrier, but it can transform what a person understands as possible. The map changes consciousness before it changes circumstance. Now, clear the example and gather the 5 principles to carry into your own writing. 1. Define autobiographical voice precisely. 2. Separate literal movement from supported inference. 3. Anchor extended metaphor and anaphoric repetition in exact evidence. 4. Connect tone, structure, and purpose. 5. Apply retrospective narration and tense with control. Your independent task is this. Write a paragraph explaining how Douglas presents knowledge as both painful and liberating. Analyze 1 metaphor and 1 repeated structure. For speaking practice, read the final 5 sentences aloud. Explain how a performer can move from torment to expanding awareness without simplifying either. You have completed another serious piece of world literature study. Visit bridgetoexam.com for practice questions, instant feedback, and the final exam when you are ready. Next time, Session 38, Identity and Belonging, Names, Memory, and Place.